my dreams come true. American Idol, I want to be like you. I want to succeed, my dreams come true. Great.
How we doing? We got a banging one tonight and a weird. This is not the Dude Cave, everybody. We are in a food truck in Marietta, Ohio, at the River Festival down here. We're doing barbecue tonight. We did chili. We got steak. It's draft night. We got one of my good buddies on here and an absolute legend in the Browns social media game. He's self-proclaimed as America's least favorite sports commentator, but that makes him that much more awesome because sometimes you just got to own what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the absolute legend himself, Reflog, Chris McNeil. What's up, brother? How we doing?
Tony, thank you for that fantastic intro there. And I'll tell you, coming from a food truck down in Marietta, I mean, that's just, I have never been on a show with anybody in a food truck, let alone one down there in Marietta. You've been competing all day. I think that's just fantastic. So what a unique experience this is. And against the backdrop of the Browns draft now, we've really got it all going on here, Tony.
We got it all going on. We got Cleveland whiskey here, one of our partners. You know, I'm not going home without my Cleveland whiskey. You know, we might need it after this second and third round of the Cleveland Browns draft tonight. As we're doing.
Have we participated yet in the NFL draft? It's now been 2 days, Tony.
Yeah,
anything?
I'm over it. No, I think if participating by being Ray the Farmer and accumulating assets for farther down the draft when we clearly need wide receivers, then there's some good first-round talent still there. I don't know, man. I don't know where I'm at on Andrew Berry. I feel he hasn't ruined my trust yet, so I'm going to have to go with my gut here and assume that he knows what he's doing, but I have questions on that one. I know we gave up a lot of draft capital, but now everyone's saying Deshaun Watson has now cost us a second-rounder as well. To offset the draft capital to attach with maybe Baker, you know, to get down there. So now we can agree that Baker's probably not going to the Texans because that probably deal would have been done in that deal. So now we're hearing that Carolina seems to be the team that's gaining the strength here because once again, the Browns fans are the biggest losers by not getting to celebrate a guy that we hope will be good like any other year in the Browns nation. But now we're also having to see Baker Mayfield's value tank even farther because now not many quarterbacks were taken yesterday, and I thought that was going to boost his trade value because it showed there was not a lot of faith in this quarterback class. And now here we are, still got Baker, and there's still a lot of question marks out there. There's only a couple teams left, and Baker once again is on the sidelines waiting on his chance.
Well, it's going to be Carolina, right? I mean, that's where I figure that's pretty much what it's down to, Carolina or I guess the Seahawks. But there's a lot of smoke right now coming out of Carolina, a lot of talk. There has been for a while. It seems to be kind of intensifying right now. That seems like a natural landing spot for him. For me, I think it's just a matter of them getting the number down. If everything that I've seen is accurate, it seems like Carolina's trying to get the Browns to pick up a hefty sum of what he is due. And, of course, the Browns are going to balk on that for as long as they can until it becomes untenable, and then they got to unload him. I think. I don't know. Have you seen anything along those lines, Tony?
I mean, basically what I'm hearing is you got to eat money. You're not getting that first, second round, even future couple years down the road, you know, to bail them Browns out where they can at least feel like a winner by saying, hey, we didn't have to pay him any money. Those offers are not coming. They haven't come. Let's just face it. If they didn't happen before draft, they're not going to happen after the draft. You know, the longer these quarterbacks get taken up and everything. And let's take a quick look here at what quarterbacks have been taken off the board as of in the second round. I know, let's see here. And I'm being the guy that's on a show, scrolling through his phone, looking. So that's
well, Tony, I'll tell you, while you're looking right now, one of the most interesting parts that's going on is the Cleveland Browns are on the clock.
We are. The pick is in. The pick is in.
The pick is now in. Okay, you're further updated down there in Marietta than what I am here in my home office.
You know, it's all about this IG. I think we got really good internet 4G service down here in Marietta. Look at Marietta College stepping up the game. Send your kids to Marietta. You'll always have good, safe communications with them. Strong service down here.
Well, they know when to do it. You got to do it over the Browns draft. If you're not going to have good service over the Browns draft, then why even bother at all, right?
Right. Right. That's what I'm kind of at here. So we're waiting on the Browns pick. Man, what great timing for this show to kick off here. So what do you think we're going to go here with? I put a poll out today of what the Browns Nation wants of either not quarterback. I think we got that.
Quarterback.
Wide receiver or a defensive tackle here. It seems like those are the two most glaring needs of the Browns. Would you agree with that?
I would. And going into today, I thought we were going to get a defensive tackle up there higher before we traded down. Now with the run on wide receivers, I could see us taking a wide receiver because we're scared that room has gotten a little scarce, and maybe you figure you can pick up a defensive tackle later on, to be honest with you. But I think we're going to go one of those two directions. I think you hit on both of them.
Yeah, I think it's got. I mean, at this point, if it's not that, then who? Okay, so what would be the third group then? If it's not that, would it be another cornerback? But well,
unless you go defensive end, you figure Clowney might be gone, right? And then you go defensive end on that.
The word on the street is that there is a handshake deal done behind the scenes, and that's why they're kind of shifted a lot of focus in the camp toward wide receiver. That's another rumor going around. But what do we know? What do we know?
Nothing, just speculation. That's what the draft is all about. It's, I mean, you look at it, it's 95% smoke and about 5% of actual, meat, right?
We saw
actual fire.
When there's no quarterbacks or wide receivers or running backs high on the charts, we found out last night that Mel Kiper and Todd McShay have no clue what they're doing after about the third or fourth pick, because there was not. I think Chris Angel is the only one that picked like the first three picks. Chris Angel, Mind Freak, was the only one that had like the Texans taking that cornerback. I forget.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, but they're also saying there's question marks. The box disappeared for a few minutes, so there's question marks.
Mel Kiper and Todd McShay, both of those guys know one thing very well, and that's how to make money. And by putting out a lot of information, even if you're inaccurate, it doesn't matter. You create content all year long around the draft. That creates capital for yourself. So they don't have to be accurate. They just have to have a lot of information out there and be able to explain what happened, even if their predictions aren't exactly on target.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's educated guesses. I'd like to go back and look at what position they picked, because that I think I would give more flack if they picked the right position group, just the wrong player. So like, all right, they knew their needs and they nailed the need. But I got to go back and follow up. I mean, they had 3 quarterbacks going in the first round, and there was not one quarterback taken in the second from what I'm seeing. So I think all the quarterbacks are still available.
Well, until Pickett went to the Steelers.
Well, outside of Pickett, I'm saying after Pickett, you had Malik Willis, you got Corral from Ole Miss. You still have Ritter down in Cincinnati still available. And, yeah, we're now into the third round. We've had one quarterback selected in the first 2 rounds. So here's a question for you, Chris. Worst quarterback class ever?
Well, I would think so. I'd have to go back and do some research. I'm personally thrilled that the Steelers went and got Pickett, to be honest with you, because I don't think he's very good either. I think this could be a real bomb of a class, and I think that the one that's off the board could be particularly bad as well. So I'm pretty happy to see that. You disagree?
No, the pick is in. But, yeah, the Pickett thing, we have the pick is in, and it is not what I was expecting. Yikes.
Uh-oh.
Round select. Out of Mississippi State, cornerback Martin Emerson, adding more depth to the defensive secondary. Emerson is a tall, long, and strong press zone corner with slightly below average time speed. He redirects receivers at the line of scrimmage and shows good awareness in the zone. He does a lot of holding and grabbing, and he's not a ball hawk. Boy, this is getting good. His lone interception, great, he's had 1. Came as a freshman, 29. I don't know if I should keep going, but he separates receivers from the ball and has the length to get late pass breakups. He's a physical run defender and solid tackler who fights off blocks. He's a brawler. I think the Browns got a brawler to fit in the AFC North. That's what it sounds like. They went with a tough, grind to the nose to the grinding stone cornerback with the first pick. And I thought that after signing Ward, I thought that was a position group that we weren't going to mess with until maybe later add them like camp guys. Browns were not happy with the secondary. So now with the loaded secondary, what does that mean for guys like Greedy Williams and Greg and Newsome? You know, I mean, Ward's obviously fine. We signed Hill and we got Johnson.
Newsome. We just grabbed Newsome last year.
Why do we keep one of the first and second rounders every year? On like this is 3 years in a row now. We have actually might be 4 since Denzel. We had Denzel, Greedy, Newsome, and now this guy. I already forgot his name. That's how irrelevant he is to me. It's terrible.
Well, to be fair, this is the 3rd round. I mean, we're getting a 3rd rounder. That's our first pick.
So right? here's the wide receivers that were available at this point. Really, all the big names are gone, but Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama is the top-rated wide receiver still out there. And David Bell out of Purdue, we all remember him when did really well against Ohio State. He was out there. So yeah, they had not a lot out there on the names on wide receiver. And then defensive tackle, let's see who was available there. They had Travis Jones out of UConn with an 86th grade still out there. According to the ESPN, the mothership source, he was rated at a much higher pre-draft grade than the cornerback we just got. But obviously, Andrew Berry has a plan with Stefanski on that defensive line and in the wide receivers. But maybe after this, the way wide receivers have been getting shipped around, maybe they think something else will fall into their lap outside of the draft. So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out.
It's pretty wild. Jake Trotter had a pretty good tweet here. Jake Trotter, of course, who covers the Browns for ESPN, wrote, Browns spend their first pick of the 22 draft on a corner, just like everyone predicted, right?
Yes.
Cheek there out of Jake Trotter. I don't think many people saw it coming. There were a few people who mentioned, I guess Mary Kay Cabot had mentioned that in one of her articles that they may go corner, and don't be surprised. But, it's just the Browns, you can never quite figure out where they're going to go at any time, and especially getting to the late rounds. We're in the 3rd round. This may be our first pick, but this is the 3rd round. This is where you start looking more at depth. Maybe not top end, and that's where we added. We added depth at the cornerback position. It makes me a little concerned over what they think about Newsome. Obviously, Denzel Ward, you feel good about. You just locked him up, but boy, you still it raises more questions than answers, which is pretty rare for a draft. You're supposed to be answering questions, not bringing up more, right?
That's what you would think. Now, I will say the Browns have another pick in 7 picks.
Right.
Update at pick 69. Nicholas Petit-Frere from Ohio State goes to Tennessee. So congratulations to the Buckeye getting a nice home with Ohio State alum like Vrabel down there. So that's great for him. And then Chad Muma from Wyoming. Jacksonville adds another interior linebacker as we go on. But so, like I said, this draft has been really hard to get a gauge on because there hasn't been that glaring quarterback situation like normal. And there's not a lot. The first running back didn't go to the last of the 2nd round out of Georgia. And it's been a wide receiver class, and that's about it on the skill positions this year. It's been a very weird draft. It's been a draft where everyone's bolstering up the other position groups, I like to call them. Would you agree with that? Is that the trend you're kind of noticing too, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes me wonder what we're going to do now in free agency for us in particular. Just even this one pick, because like I said, you're starting to get into the part of the draft where you're looking at depth. So you're not looking at necessarily top end, and we have top end needs at tackle right now, right? At wide receiver, we need a guy there, potentially defensive end. This is top end. This isn't where we need depth. This is where we need somebody who's a starter, who's a big impact player, and we're going to need that. We think this team could be a playoff team. We think this team could be a Super Bowl contender. At least I do, and I'm sure you do too, Tony. In order to get there, we got to plug some of these holes. And I understand the NFL with injuries, you need to have a good amount of depth, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I'm a big fan of that. But at the same time, boy, I still have some huge questions at the top end.
It's like they're going for it, but not 100%. It's like they're 80% in. It's like they're not when you make that splash with Watson, it's almost like that. It makes you wonder, what do they know about Watson's upcoming suspension, if there is one? Is there a reason they're kind of leaving some holes unfilled this year at this current point? Because I feel like when you make that much of a move and you have cap space and you rework contracts and you make us and then you trade for Amari Cooper, it's like letting your fans like, hey, we're going all in, but now we don't have that number 2 wide receiver still, and it's like, man, we just trade 3 firsts for Deshaun Watson, and we're going to have to pay to take our old quarterback off our hands, but we're not going to replace Jarvis Landry. But Jarvis Landry is still available, so maybe there's something still going on with him. I will say with the longer we go without that defensive end, I feel better about Clowney coming back to the Browns. I do feel that the Clowney to the Browns, I feel that that's going to happen.
How about flip it to the other end or the other side of the ball? How about Jarvis? Then do you feel that maybe he's coming back since we didn't go wide receiver? I know it's just one pick, like you mentioned. Here in a few picks, we come back up. Could be a wide receiver there. But do you feel a little bit more confident since we traded down? We opted not to take a wide receiver in this big run of wide receivers. Does that mean Jarvis is coming back?
I mean, all signs seem to point more toward 50%. I mean, I would say like we were like, there's a chance, but things still need to happen. But now as this goes on, it's like, the Browns have limited options at this point. That's a game changer, someone that's actually going to come in and move the needle right away. And we can all agree when Landry's healthy, you don't get much more reliable and consistent in a receiver than Jarvis Landry. He's got new representation, so he's got a new agent. They got rid of Baker, and apparently the Baker thing was a problem for him because then all of a sudden he was interested in coming back, and it was not a secret about that. So I think the chances of Landry, I think, are better than what they were a week ago, perhaps. I just feel like every day that these guys don't sign that we're linked to, and after the Watson thing went down, maybe it's false hope because, that was gone. The next thing it's like, oh, by the way, here's Watson, so I don't know. This is weird. This has been – it's fun, though, right? Aren't we having fun? Isn't this amazing that we're talking like this? Like, hey, we got Watson. We got – like, we're getting ready to make it out of the Super Bowl. We need some spots. Like, compared to, like, we got that Kaiser guy, and I'm telling you, he's going to be great. And we got – we don't have to talk ourselves into that many players on this roster. I think we have realistic expectations of playoffs now when compared to, like, if the stars align and some guys get hurt on the schedule we have to face, like a couple quarterbacks go down, there's a chance.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm completely perplexed. Why then, if you're in the situation we are, where you think you're just a couple of players away, why you aren't taking those players at the top of the draft where you have more talent? I don't know. And, there's some conspiracy theorists already saying, well, the Browns are figuring that Watson's going to be out for a while this season. So this season's going to end up being a wash. So they're really looking ahead.
That's what worries me. It worries me because there's glaring holes that they're not really seem to be concerned about at the moment. Why?
So they're accumulating draft capital right now so that they can make those big moves, not in this draft, but in the next draft. It's one of those, come on, Tony, you're with me on this one. The free beer tomorrow, right? The free beer tomorrow sign that you get at the bar.
Yeah.
You see it. And what happens? You go in the next day, the sign says free beer tomorrow. You go in the day after that, free beer tomorrow. That's what happens with these drafts, right? We go say, okay, next year is going to be our year. That's when we're going to set ourselves up. Not now. No. Next year is going to be our year. You get to next year, then it's like, well, no, we had something else happen. So it's going to be next year. Free beer tomorrow continues for the Cleveland Browns here, Tony.
No, and that's actually a running joke that I use on people. It's like, oh, it's like the Browns. There's always next year,
Yeah.
It's like that's been like it's like a local joke, but there's a lot of serious to it. It's like the stigma that won't go away, and the reason that stigma is there is because you've earned that stigma. You have been so predictable over the years since 1999 to where the Browns are unfortunately still a laughing stock. And now that they've had all this talent and still not really made a serious run at it, it's kind of almost worse than sucking, right? Now it's like we have all this talent. We had talent in, but we've done nothing with it. So would you rather suck with no talent or keep missing playoffs with talent? That's a tough question.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm going to go with talent, because you still can whoop some ass every once in a blue moon. So, yeah. When we go like down to Tennessee and drop a 40 burger on them, like those games are still fun. Well, the Browns missed out on another wide receiver. Velus Jones Jr. out of Tennessee goes to Chicago.
Goes to the Bears. The
Bears. Hawks are on the clock, needing a quarterback. They're all out there. We could see a quarterback move with this next pick with the 72nd pick, Chris. Who would it be? Who would you take? I mean, it's got to be Malik, right?
Yeah, I would think so too. I would think so, especially at this point. Boy, he has fallen. You talk about these quarterbacks that fall. Holy Toledo, man!
There were some guys that had Carolina taking him at 6. There was one draft, a couple mock drafts where they had the Lions. They had so much draft capital. They're like they're going to use the second pick to get their quarterback because they have so much other draft capital. It won't hurt them that much.
I saw the exact same thing, and that just blows my mind that you missed by that much.
There's no way. You owe golf way too much money over the next 3 years to you can get out of it maybe a year from now, but maybe not now. And I'd like to shout out, speaking of free beer, this free beer was given to me by Redbeard Seasonings. Everyone check them out, redbeardseasonings.com. Use promo code The Dude Network for 10% off. Chris, man, that steak and brisket, dude, it'll take you into SCA world, man. You're gonna be down here slinging steaks if you get some of that steak and brisket.
I'll tell you what, you are making me hungry right now. Just all this barbecue talk, the fact that you're down there in this food truck down there in Marietta on the river. I mean, that I'm ready for the middle of summer.
Did you just say in a food truck down by the river?
Down by the river. That's right. I mean, is there anything more summer than barbecue?
No. I've been waiting way too long for it here in Ohio. Way too long. Right. We finally got a little taste of it today. This weekend supposed to be kind of in the 70s here in Columbus, and hopefully going to warm up after that. I think we're going to skip spring once again, which is kind of famous around here anymore. We just go straight from winter to summer. Don't need it.
Delayed summer.
Can't win with it. No. Get it out.
But then you get the Holy Trinity of Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day, and those are some great barbecue, obviously holidays, and I just cannot wait, my friend.
Ooh, ribs. Ooh,
ribs.
Burgers. What?
Love
chicken.
Ribs.
What? Beers. Oh. What? More beers. What? Uh-oh. That's Roger Goodell calling.
That.
Roger Goodell.
That's exactly right up. Is that a pick in? That's what that is. No.
It was Andrew Barry calling you. Like, I don't know what I did. What do I do, Chris? Help me.
He's mad at me for my tweet earlier because I had the audacity to question the whole trust in Andrew Barry thing.
Well, you already got blocked this week by Deshaun Watson. I mean, that takes skill.
How about that? I felt pretty good about that.
Hey, by the way, we need to make a breaking news. If you haven't missed it, Chris has been blocked on Twitter by Deshaun Watson. So that's probably not going to help him with your following, going forward. But, hey, pick your battles. And so what'd you do? Did you throw some massage tables at him? What'd you do, man?
No shade at all. That's the thing. I don't even know what I did. I'm anxious to find out exactly where I slighted him, because I've mostly defended him. And, I've said before, I'm excited about the guy being a Cleveland Brown. I'm excited about the potential we have. Obviously, there's some big problems off the field that I'm not thrilled with, to say the least. But I haven't really even put that out on Twitter very much. So I don't know what got him all upset, to be honest with you. But I'm anxious to find out what that is, because this is the first time, to my knowledge, in fact, it's got to be first time ever a Browns quarterback, a sitting Browns quarterback, has ever blocked me before they've taken a snap as a Cleveland Brown. And that's worth something right there. I think that's worth some barbecue or some beers or something. I'll tell you, Tony.
I'll tell you what. You can come up with me. We'll go up to Berea. We'll take one of my briskets. We'll slice it up. We'll take some Cleveland whiskey. We'll take some Redbeard seasoning. We'll even give them some delicious jerky from Pegasus Jerky Company, new partner of the Dude Network. We have an official jerky partner now. Let's go for that. Breaking news. First show.
I need to get one of those. You need to get them to ship me some of that. I love jerky. There is nothing
Oh,
better
yeah.
in the world
You
than
know what,
jerky.
man? We could probably make that happen, Chris. We're going to make
That
that
would be
happen.
fantastic. I will
This is
promote it.
Texas
I will
pepper.
cross promote for
Cayenne-
those folks. Give me some of that
Cayenne
jerky.
black pepper and honey. Woo!
That's outstanding.
Oh. So the Colts have taken their 73rd pick. Oh, by the way, Seattle, a quarterback's gone. We'll tell you where he's going. This is a cool story. I think we got a little something going on down here. Seattle took a tackle, so they yet again passing the quarterback. So are they now?
Oh, wow.
Hard up for Baker. They're not
Maybe
taking
they
them,
are.
or they're not taking a quarterback because 2 picks later, the Atlanta Falcons take Desmond Ridder, quarterback Cincinnati. Wow.
How about that?
Mariota thought, like, I got a team.
Take us to the year 2022, where the second quarterback off the board comes from University of Cincinnati.
With the 74th pick. 74 picks, 2 quarterbacks. Yikes.
And the second one is from Cincinnati. Who would have ever seen that coming?
No.
Well, fantastic. Awesome season for Cincinnati and everything that they've done down there. I mean, you can't say enough about that program, where it's gone from really where it was just a few years ago. So fantastic job to Cincinnati, and this is kind of a nice feather in your cap once again after a fantastic season.
No, and that's going to be interesting down in Atlanta because you're probably going to – obviously, Ridder got taken that late to be the project behind Mariota. So now they're basically like, Mariota, you got a year to prove to us that you're the guy because now we got a guy we're going to let sit behind you for a year. And Mariota does not have a strong injury history of good health. So they needed that backup because they were left pretty thin after Mariota there. And, and there's times his strategy, his gameplay does not fit the game plan against some of these defenses. So it'll be interesting to see how they work that dynamic into it. If it'll be a competition going into the training room, or he's just going to be, or if they're going to come out and back Mariota right off the rip. That'll be an interesting play there. The Texans are now on the clock. That's another interesting team to keep an eye on here. They really like David Mills, the second-year guy out of Stanford, who had a decent year, better than I thought he was going to have, that's for sure, with that situation last year. But let's see if they bring in someone to challenge him, or if they're going – and I think if they don't take a quarterback here, you have to wonder, are they back in the mix for Baker? The way these quarterbacks – the Browns – Andrew Berry might come out looking like a genius in this, Chris. You know what I mean? Like, the longer these quarterbacks are not getting taken, there's still only one – I mean, Baker's now the best quarterback available if you want to go get one, right?
Well, right, but that's not anything Andrew Berry's doing actively right now. It's just falling to him. It's not like we were going to take one of those quarterbacks off the board or something.
I agree, but people are going to call him a genius. He's going to be like, oh, yeah, I knew how it's going to play out. Like,
well, that's fine. Hey, that's fine. I have no problem with that. He could be a genius. He could be an idiot as long as he builds a good team. I don't think you have to be able to split an atom to build an NFL team. And I think that's one of the misconceptions that's out there is like they always make it up that, hey, we've got these geniuses. They're from Ivy League schools. Who cares? Who cares? Albert Einstein could come back and be the GM of the Cleveland Browns. You know what? We'd probably suck, right? We'd probably really suck because he doesn't know football. But you get somebody who's got a low IQ but knows the crap out of football. There's the guy I want as a GM. So I'm not too concerned about how smart or how dumb he is. I just want to see this crap work out, Yeah,
I'm with you, man. I don't care what brain does what. As long as any brain does it. I do not care. I don't care if it's the ball boy that sees something. He's like, what about that guy? Or the homeless guy that said, hey, draft Johnny. Like, that guy could have changed history forever.
I don't care if we're playing 1D chess, 2D chess, 3D chess, 4D chess, 5. I don't care what D chess. I'm sick of those tweets. I just want to see us win on the field.
And the Texans take Christian Harris, inside linebacker, Alabama. So they stayed pat in the quarterback field there too. So there's still Ridder, and then Malik Willis, who some rated as by far the clear-cut number one prospect. And I like him because he's a 4-year starter. He has a lot of experience, a lot of D1 experience, and his quarterbacks seem to transition really, really well because they've just seen a lot of different stuff with that much experience. Because D1 college football at any level, you're going against pro athletes, pro schemes, you're learning pro-style offenses. So I like Malik Willis. So now our friends, the Ravens, are on the clock, then the Colts, and then the Browns. So the Browns are 3 picks away from making their second pick of the draft, and even though it's halfway through the 3rd round. Yeah, I can't get over it. I can't. But
and I'll tell you what, I think that, I like what the Ravens have done so far. I hate to say that. I really do. I like some of the things even the Bengals have done so far, and they don't need a whole lot. So
the Ravens
I keep looking back and saying, are we losing ground in this draft? Which I know it's a small kind of microscope that you're under when you're just looking at the draft, and you tend to be myopic right now because that's all that's on. That's all you've talked about is the draft. But boy, oh boy, we've only got one guy, a cornerback, and now we're accumulating picks again for the future, and it just doesn't feel like a win now scenario. And I thought we'd be in win now.
Yeah, I really thought we would be. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. We get Amari Cooper, like, oh, awesome. We got our wide one. Then we get Watson out of nowhere. We're like, holy shit.
Now. Right.
Yeah, we got holy shit. We have a quarterback. We got a wide receiver. Baker's gone. We got our running backs. We got our offensive line. We got all kinds of stuff. And we got Brad from Redbeard giving me the camera here, trying to aim up. What's up, everybody? It's live down here. Anything can happen. We got people dropping cameras off. Think on the fly. But yeah, and then all of a sudden we're in the draft, and it's like, stop the brakes. We're not there yet.
Right.
It's like, what do you mean? You just traded 3 first rounds away for this surefire Hall of Fame quarterback for the first time since 1999 with an improved wide receiver 1 that took a very friendly contract to let you go get more players. Let's not forget that. Amari basically deferred all his money this year so we could get whatever we needed to go for it. How pissed is Amari right now? We re-signed Denzel Ward with that money so far. So I don't know. Browns, they got to pull something together here because it doesn't get that warm, fuzzy vibe this draft. I feel like they went so hard on acquiring the Watson thing that I feel like they're just like, we don't really know about the draft. We're just going to defer as much as we can. I don't know.
I'll tell you what. I do think that the Amari Cooper signing that whole maneuver was a big play, and I think that was a really smart play, especially we look at the wide receivers that everyone's looking for now. There are a lot of teams that are in the market for wide receivers. We saw the contracts that were signed in the offseason. Ours ends up being one of the more friendly deals now as it comes out in the wash. You'd think Amari Cooper's got a lot to prove, especially right now, leaving Dallas, coming back to kind of show them and shove it in their face a little bit.
Yep.
I think he's going to be motivated, and you always like to see that. So I think that's going to end up being a really good move in and of itself. But once again, like you were saying, it's like, okay, that's a win now type of move, right? We're going to expect him to be good here for the next few years. The window is open. So while that window's open, why aren't we accumulating more talent around?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, this is if I was in helmet and pads and I saw Andrew Berry coming at me, I'd put him in this drill right here, Chris.
Look at this man. This man's about to die right now. You guys see this? 3-on-3 drills. Get his special expression.
Man, if I'm that guy, I'm sorry about this.
That's all right. I love that you're just like, I feel like I'm talking to Adam Schefter right now, bro. Like, this is amazing. Like, you
got so many people calling on. Hey, it's draft night. You got all these people calling in. Man, how much does that running back? Hey, how much do those guys hate that running back? Like those offensive linemen. They didn't block at all for that poor guy.
Can we agree that this was probably an offensive lineman thinking he could be a big, bad running back? I mean, look at
this man. This man's about to die right now. You guys see this?
Yeah, he's number 56. He ain't no running back. He's wearing 56. They let I think they let a linebacker get 8 alive right there. They let the.
Have you ever done one of those drills? I still wake up in cold sweats from those, from like middle
look at my
school.
hair. I got hit hard. I got lost it all.
Oh, I could never get off the ground fast enough. By the time I was up off the ground, they're already on me. I mean, I wasn't a running back. I was barely anything. I thought I was good back in the day, but looking back on it, I sucked. And I couldn't get off the ground, and I got the crap beat out of me. What's that?
I was way too Caucasian for that drill, man. Like,
I tell you what, I could not get off the ground. I never could, and I just got the crap beat out of me.
Oh, so let's see here if there's any other picks.
Well, the Browns are just about to pick again here, my friend.
Yeah, we got. The pick is in for the Ravens.
Okay, the guy that the Ravens just got, that Travis Jones, is the guy that I had the Browns picking up back when we traded with the Texans.
And I'm going to guarantee you Baltimore just took him knowing that Browns are too
and I think that was probably Andrew Berry's play, was to get that defensive tackle, have him fall. You know, the cynical ones would say, well, yeah, that was a smart play by Berry. You didn't want to take him up there. But it's like, once again, just take your guy. Let's not play the game like you're drafting him too early or whatever.
Guess how many cornerbacks have gotten taken? 0. You took a guy that was probably still going to be there at 78.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And this was the best defensive tackle on the board, and it has been all day. I don't think there was another tackle taken.
He was the number 1 best player available at 68, and he just got taken at 76. So, yeah, that was head scratch. I hope that one don't bite him. So now do the Browns go back to wide receiver now that they lost that? So let's see here. Best available on the wide receiver front. We have still Jalen Tolbert from South Alabama, the 6'1 wideout. Calvin Austin from Memphis. He is a 5'8 slot receiver, so I do not see us going after him with having Schwartz and then signing Grant from Chicago. That's not a good fit. 6'1 David Bell out of Purdue. I would say out of the remaining, he's come from Purdue. He's from the elements. He's seen it. He's Big Ten guy, tough, rough. Overall rank.
We are on the clock now officially, by the way.
We are on the clock. So the last pick was another offensive tackle. The Colts bolstered up their offensive line with Rayman at Central Michigan.
Bernard Raymond from Central Michigan. Everybody, you always have a few Central Michigans.
There's always got to be some directional Michigan.
Directional Michigan always shows up at the draft.
That's right. That's right. East, west, north, south, south, central. I don't know about that one. There's probably a JUCO up there, though.
So now the Browns are on the clock, and you're absolutely right. What we could have done is drafted Travis Jones, where we got Martin Emerson, and then drafted Martin Emerson now. I mean, I'm obviously playing Monday morning GM on this one, but you're absolutely right. Because no cornerback has been taken since then. Probably wasn't going to happen. And you know the Ravens, I think this cat and mouse game, I think the Ravens just screwed us.
The Browns pick is – nope, sorry. That was the first pick. We're waiting on it. Yeah, I was waiting on it. But, yeah, this is going to be – I tell you what, if the Browns go something not defensive tackle, wide receiver, I might not watch the rest of the draft because I'm going to be like, what is going on?
Who knows? Who knows? You know, they always say, you know, Andrew Berry, he's playing 4D chess, 5D chess, 6D chess. Maybe he's just smarter than you and I, Tony, but it seems to me, man.
He better be for the most. He's getting paid in what we make on a daily basis. He better have a lot bigger damn brain than you and I put together.
That's right, right?
He's getting paid millions and millions of reasons to be very smart at the football. I mean, a lot of it.
That's exactly right. But here we are.
Fun fact, 14 years old, born in Austria. You got a European over here. Late bloomer.
Who did we pick? Did you just announce the pick? I missed it.
It says it's on the clock. We're watching the live feed here because you know the signal is so strong in Marietta we can watch it and talk about it at the same time. We're waiting on it here.
Props once again to Marietta and the local internet there. That's pretty impressive.
And 6, maybe 7G towers down here. It might be 7G we're dealing with.
You're sitting in a food truck right now, getting better internet than what I'm getting in my studio in Columbus, Ohio.
And your studio is second to none, by the way. Like, I try to make my studio look cool like yours, but man, it's just a waste of my time.
Yeah, you got to have good window dressing. When the product itself, being me, isn't that great, you got to make sure you dress it up plenty, and that's what I've done here.
We have the chime. The pick is in. The selection is. We're waiting. I'm getting slow played here.
Give us a quarterback.
Browns select Malik Willis. Actually, it wouldn't be a terrible thing if the Watson's going to have any suspension this year.
That would be interesting. I'll tell you what, that would light this whole draft on fire. The Browns do something like that.
And we got a new hitter through 8 up at the Mets. Got a no hitter going through 8. That's a new little news flash as well.
Oh, we got our guy. We've got our guy.
You got it.
You may be wrong, but you may be right. Alex Wright out of UAB, outside linebacker.
Linebacker.
Wright is a long and talented edge defender who can shoot his hands and walk back offensive tackles to the quarterback when he rushes the passer. He has room to grow as a pass rusher, but he flashes as a hard fighter, has the speed to cross the face of offensive tackles, and bends well for his size. See, that's someday I want people to say that about me. He bends well for his size. I think that's a fantastic line. Wright gets overwhelmed by double teams when he lines up head on the tackle, but he's effective setting the edge, playing outside the tackle. There you go.
So we got our edge guy. We got the guy from we got Winovich, Chase Winovich. So does that mean Clowney's now out and then we're going to go and get Landry and maybe even, I'll say it, OBJ, because he's still out there lingering too, and he has been very adamant saying he would love to come back to Cleveland. But
no way. That's not happening. Those bridges are burned, my friend. I don't care what he says. Those bridges internally for the Cleveland Browns are burned.
No I hope so. I hope so. But you never know, Nate. The way this off seasons went, never say never.
I don't know that you could say definitively that Clowney's going to be gone now because you're bringing in Alex Wright. I really don't think
we got some ends though. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you don't replace, but with Garrett going to draw a double, you just really need a guy to beat one-on-one. You don't really need the savior on the opposite side of Myles Garrett, right? I don't know.
I do like your thinking though that perhaps we're bringing back a wide receiver, perhaps Jarvis Landry.
I mean, how much money is left? I mean, there can't be that much money left, right?
There's plenty of money in the banana stand. Come on, got all those flying J's out there.
Yeah, we'll just defer it like Tampa Bay has for the next. That's got to catch up to these teams. At some point, you got to pay the money. Is it ever going to go against the cap?
Right.
I mean,
the cap is kind of fake.
Is Tampa Bay paying Tom Brady over the next 50 years like Bobby Bonilla with all the deferred money they gave him last year?
It's the way to do it. That's the way to do it if you can.
All right, so let's take a quick branch away from the Browns. Let's recap first round here. Interesting things that happened. Obviously more trades ever in the first round than we've ever seen. Wide receivers have never moved around like they have this offseason. The Baltimore situation's interesting because it feels like the tension between the Ravens and Lamar Jackson is building. And yesterday, trading away his homeboy, his number one guy, the guy that's been with him from the rip, they traded him away. So now he lost that weapon, and he's now without a contract. He's not exercising they're not exercising it, or he's not wanting to negotiate.
And by the way,
Baltimore's in the spot.
Pity, right? We're shedding a tear over here for them.
I'm celebrating. I'm sorry if my tone didn't come across as like, oh, this might be awesome.
How great is that? I love there's nothing that makes me happier as a Browns fan than to see that total grease fire being on somebody else's stove, right? And that's what we got right there. They got a grease fire that's starting there. The type of grease fire that we're very, very familiar with here in Cleveland. They've got that one started, and I just absolutely love it.
Yeah, that one's not aging very well. That one's not. I see that being a nasty divorce. Actually, I mean, it might after this draft, Lamar just be like, "I'm not going anywhere. So if you need to trade me, trade me." Wouldn't that be a story? You would hate to hear that going into training camp, wouldn't you?
You'd hate it. You'd hate to see that.
Hate to see it. Hate to see it. So the other storyline is, the Bill Belichick pick. I mean, did you see the Sean McVay presser where he was like absolutely like wasted last night, and he was like making fun of Bill Belichick? He's like, "Man, we waste a lot of time looking at him at 72." Like that was a stretch pick, like big time. And now Bill, when he sees his guys, he gets his guy. But, man, you got Mac Jones, who got destroyed the second half of the year last year and really kind of set him back in his progress, I thought, from how he started to how he finished. It's amazing that people are questioning Mac Jones in New England after the first half of the year he had and taking a team that was almost to the playoffs in a very tough division. And outside of the Jets, obviously, they suck. But yeah, so they went with a guard out of Tennessee, Chattanooga, and ESPN didn't even have a highlight reel ready for this guy. That's how odd of a pick it was. And that's people are starting to wonder, is it time? Has the time caught up to Big Bill Belichick? Has the other coaches caught up to him? I feel like he's getting Mike Vrabel outsmarted him a couple of years ago and found a loophole. Like, I feel like that's something Bill Belichick used to do. So, in your opinion, Chris, has the clock struck midnight on New England with the Belichick thing?
No. First of all, I don't believe that. I never bet against Bill Belichick.
Ever.
I really cannot. I still feel that he's the best head coach ever. And I know, with all due respect to Paul Brown here in this town, but I do believe that Bill Belichick is the best coach ever. Now, I will say he's not without his weaknesses. And that's one of the things that I think sometimes people overlook, is that even the greats have weaknesses, and that doesn't mean you're ripping on the guy because you point those things out. And one of those weaknesses is he's not a great drafter. They aren't great in the draft. What he is he overcomes it, I think, with coaching, number one. And then number two, by having a guy by the name of Tom Brady for the last 20 years, up until, of course, he went to Tampa Bay. Both of those factors allowed him to overcome, I think, some key personnel mistakes along the way. But because it is such a crapshoot with the draft. And so you're going to, if you draft for long enough, you're going to make some bad decisions. You're going to make some good decisions. But if you can coach through both, then you're going to be good. And that's what Bill Belichick has essentially done. And what we've had problems with in Cleveland is that we've both drafted poorly and then also had bad coaches in the past. So we've really created for ourselves a double negative, whereas, a team like the Patriots is able to overcome it. So I will not believe that the game is passed by Bill Belichick until he's dead. And even at that point, I'm going to have to double check and see that he's not doing anything from beyond the grave, because that man is just next level in everything that he does, in my mind, when he gets on the football field. And even though he does have some glaring mistakes he's made in his career, in his coaching career, he's one of those I would never bet against.
But yeah, I mean, he's done killer. I mean, he has nailed enough. Luckily, the picks he's nailed have been game changers, like Brady, Gronkowski,
right?
Like Teddy Bruschi, like those guys. Like he's nailed a lot of those picks over the years. And I don't know why I threw Bruschi in there. I drew a blank, and I'm like, Bruschi.
He's also very decisive in one of the things, and I didn't originally point this out. I don't remember who it was in Cleveland, but he basically said that his test case for what he did with Brady was with Bernie Kosar. When he cut Bernie, he made that decision that, hey, listen, the organization, we're going to go in this direction. I know the fans, I know everybody else thinks that we're with Bernie Kosar, but we're going to take it in this direction. Now, Belichick, I think, was wrong in that case. Number one, I'm a huge Bernie Kosar fan, right?
And Bernie we trust, baby.
In Bernie we trust. And number two, the organization did fall off. Did win the playoff after that. Of course, went away. Belichick goes away. But that was really, okay, he was learning on the job of how to take an organization in a different direction. And then he went and did the same thing, when he got to the Patriots, by cutting Drew Bledsoe and saying, nope, he's gone. We're going with Tom Brady. And he was decisive in that one. And this time it worked out well for him. And obviously the rest is history. But it's kind of interesting that he cut his teeth with the Cleveland Browns in that whole style, and everything that became history now with Tom Brady all has roots back in what he did in Cleveland.
Oh God, it's so painful to think about. Right?
It is. Well, it's all pain, really. And when you look at our existence, Tony, it's all pain, my friend. We're just talking about different levels of pain. I
don't know what
even our successes are tinged with pain. I mean, come on. My favorite memory, of course, is the Browns beating the Jets in the Mark Gastineau game, and that was Bernie Kosar getting hit late. Of course, what happens after that? You get the drive, right? You get the fumble after that. Every time you have something good, it always swings back the opposite way. So we don't have a Super Bowl. We don't have an end of season, jubilation. We don't have any of that stuff here in Cleveland.
I mean, it's just like, even like the Cavs, when they won that championship, right? They had to blow it up because Kyrie's like, I don't want to play here anymore. Could you imagine if Kyrie would have just been like, I'm staying? Like, we can never have anything long for a sustained amount of time. Like, except for the Indians in the 90s, and what did that give us? 0 World Series. Like,
you're absolutely right.
By the way, the Guardians, the Cleveland baseball team with that I think they have bats. Sometimes I don't think they bring them. 1 run again tonight. So let's give the Dolans another round of applause for tanking another freaking season for us fans that want to care and have something fun to do in the summer, but we can't.
Is that what we got right now? I think first pitch was at 9:30, wasn't it? So we're an hour in. We've got 1 hit.
We're already down 4-1. That was before we started. It's probably like 10-1 now because suck,
Well, thanks for that good news. I appreciate that, by the way. Tony.
The Dude Network's always just bringing happiness into people's lives, One blundering Cleveland owner at a time.
Oh my gosh.
I'll say it. Poor Dolan. Can you believe that guy couldn't even afford Christmas presents for his kids this year? I mean, what a guy.
You're right. 4-1. It's only the top of the second, my friend.
Oh, it must be a rain delay because it was the second inning when we started.
It's a hell of a rally against the god-awful Oakland. I mean, Oakland's not any good, and they play in a stadium with a bunch of feral cats.
Actually, they've sold everybody. The fact that we're down 4-1, we're losing to a double-A team.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Akron Rubber Ducks are beating the Guardians 4-1 right now, folks. That's what's going on. Actually, the Rubber Ducks are probably better than the Tribe.
Well, only
night when Bieber's not pitching. Only night when Bieber's not pitching. I'll throw that out.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to turn into a pumpkin here. We've been on for about an hour.
Yep. So on that note, man, hey, that's about how long we've done these here, 9:30, 10:30. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you rambling and ranting and raving about how awesome this draft has been for the Cleveland Browns.
That's right. I love it. From start to finish. Which was all of about 45 minutes from one pick to our last pick so far.
We got another one at 99. We got 3 third-rounders here, so let's hope we nail it that time. We got our cornerback. Thank God. We needed that guy. We got our defensive end linebacker. Position to be determined. That sounds promising. We got him locked up. Right. And you said the linebacker, and I'm like, let's tell me defensive end. So great, we got that tweener guy. That's cool. They
switched it. Yeah, they switched it. It's a tweener guy. It's a linebacker if you need a linebacker. He's a defensive end if you need a defensive end. We need a defensive end, so there you go. Bingo.
Yep. So let's see. We have any comments?
We'll just play him out of position. It works all the time for the Guardians. So why not? Stick him in the outfield.
All right. Well, hey, man, you are the absolute best. I'd give you a TV show, but that's just me. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Reflog McNeil.
Hey, I'm going to be looking for that beef jerky in the mail, by the way, Tony.
I'm going to hit you up. I'm actually afterwards. I'm going to get your. We got a contact here. I got you hooked up though. So, ladies and gentlemen, check out PegasusJerkyCompany.com. Get the Assam maple, the blackberry, or the Texas pepper. It's money. It's 5 ounces, and it is gluten-free. It's amazing. Everyone go get some Fieldhouse mustard from Branch Barbecue. And let's not forget about Frickson Family Farms, our meat provider of the Dude Network up in Dakota, Minnesota. Small town feels, big town deals. Everything's money. High end with it. We're cooking with it this weekend. Going to bring home the gold with some Friction Family Farms. To all the Browns fans out there, we appreciate all of you. To all of you out there watching, probably 5 of us. No, I'm joking. But we appreciate every one of you guys out there. But Chris, thank you so much for hanging out here with us tonight. I'll be curious to see how the rest of this draft goes. But as always, Doug check. You left me hanging. Woof.
Oh, that was to me.
Hey.